here 15 minutes ago, and they've walked on top of our vehicle tracks. Is the Modora going to Puza?
Yeah, already some of them went down to the market. Got maybe you bump on them on the road.
Oh yeah, copy. I think I'm also going to join you down at the mighty. So we can have a look through there. There's some of the lines there, but there's other lines that have moved down to the dam to drink. So I think we're going to try to get in a position to see the lines drinking. We're going to come back to where they are here shortly. We're just going to go see them drink quickly, because that looks like a few of them are going to move down towards the water. Morning, Andrew. Thank you very much for. Hey, they've been clop on me. See them on top of my tracks there?
Yeah. But I'm not sure if they found it dead or they killed it.
Oh, okay.
But the thing is, they're feeding on it.
Yeah. Thanks, Andrew.
Thank you.
So, guys, I'm just gonna, from what I've just heard from Andrew, they're feeding on a hippo carcass. Looks like a small one. I'm just gonna have a very quick look, and then we're gonna shoot down to the ones drinking. So it looks like most of the pride are drinking. There's only 2 lionesses here. So such beautiful light. It's going to be really nice to see them on the water. But we will definitely come right back here once we've finished watching them drinking. It looks like quite a young hippo. Difficult to say whether they killed it or found it. But either is a happy day for a lion. Lions are quite lazy. If they can find a dead hippo, it's far better than having to catch one. Which is also good news for us. We should have lions for a day or two at least. Young males down here at the water. So, the others are on their way down. But the sun's in a bit of a bad spot for us, so I'm just going to squeak out them and move. Just want to move around to the other side of him so we get the light in the right place. Christine from New Jersey, welcome on Sunrise Safari with us this morning. Christine would like to know how many lions are in this pride and are there any cubs. Christine, at the moment there are no cubs as far as I'm aware. There are 8, used to be 8 lions in the Nkuhuma Pride. This is the young male we just saw there at the water's edge. But it looks like he's on his way back to the buffalo carcass now. Hippo carcass. Thank you, Brian. So we're going to have lots of fat lions around, sleeping under bushes. They are quite quite spread out, so I'm not sure whether the whole pride is here. Sometimes the prides do get split. So, looks like everyone is quite full. Just going to see where she stops to feed again. So we've only seen 4 out of a possible 8 lions so far. None of them have young cubs at the moment. There are some sub-adults that are just over a year old. Copy, thanks very much, Andrew. This is very, very fresh, probably early hours of this morning. As I said, it's quite difficult to know whether the hippos died of natural causes or they've killed it. It's quite a strong possibility that they might have killed a young hippo of that size. Difficult to see exactly how old it is, but probably it's a sub-adult hippo. And you can actually see the big, thick layer of subcutaneous fat that a hippo has. We'll have a look at that a bit closely just a little bit later. Now, this is a wonderful, wonderful meal for lions. You can see this probably happened early this morning, just judging from all the scuff marks around. And just from the amount of scuff marks, I would say they probably did kill it themselves. And the fight that would ensued when they first started eating would have been quite a sight. Probably going to move this carcass at some point in the day. It is quite open in the sun. I'd drag it into some shade. There are the rest of the sleeping cats. You can barely see them sleeping in the shade to the right of the carcass. I'm just suddenly looking around, trying to figure out where the rest of the pride was. And you can barely see them sleeping under a bush. Looks like she's opening up the stomach there, so eating the stomach lining, just like we would eat tripe, except we prefer ours a bit cooked.
And less stomach contents.
And less stomach contents present at the same time, yes. But you can see from the inside of the cavity they've eaten all the sort of good stuff already. Heart, liver, kidneys, all the things that have quite a lot of minerals in it. There's still quite a lot of meat on here. So it's possible that hippo that we saw in the dam that just arrived, that wasn't there earlier when we came through, could be this hippo's mother. I didn't have a close look at it. I didn't see whether it was a male or female. But if it was its mother, it would have definitely tried to defend a calf of this size against predators. But there are 8 lions, so it can be quite difficult being a mother out here in the bush. But as if you guys hear that clicking, it's just me taking a few photographs, so don't worry if you find the noise. Morning, Virginia. Virginia is asking, do they eat the fat too? Most definitely, Virginia. For a lion, a big fatty animal, especially like a hippo, that fat is very nutritious. There we go. She's actually going for a nice big piece of white fat there. You can see it pulling the fat out. Hippo fat is quite in a lot of cultures, African cultures in the past, was a very sought after commodity. So hippo fat was used to make soap, candles, also used on wounds, or actually even as a beautification product. So if you wipe all the hippo fat on and make your skin really nice and shiny, like we do with tanning oil, I suppose. But it is quite and that was happening up until 100 years ago at least, and in certain parts of Africa I'm sure it still does happen, where hippo fat is quite a highly sought after commodity. And see how strong that line is. I mean, there's still probably 500 pounds or so weight, 600 pounds even, when we try to do my conversions. Yeah, about 600 pounds of weight still there. And you see she moves like a whole carcass when she pulls. She's using a paw there to move some of the stomach contents out of the way. So basically that stomach contents there is just undigested grasses. See how she turns her head to the side when she's got to get through that thick skin of the hippo? Oh, she looks like she might be wanting to move it. Look at the power of that. Oh, disappearing lion. Let me just move the vehicle quickly so we can see what's going on. Oh, hang on a second. Hippos do have quite a high mortality rate. From just being hippos, they fight a lot, and young ones quite often get stuck in between. But I'm going to try and have a look to see if we can figure out what happened to this one, whether it was killed by the lions. I've got a feeling it was. So what she's going to do now is she's going to try to bury that stomach content, that undigested grass, and that is an attempt to try and mask the smell, to keep the hyenas from finding it. Although I think hyenas have got such a good sense of smell that it might be a bit of a waste of time. It'd be quite interesting to see if the hyenas do come here this evening, because I'm definitely going to be back here to see what happens later on. I'm trying to see on the back of that hippo whether we can see whether it's got claw marks from being jumped on by lions, or we can see a noticeable wound that might have been caused by another hippo. I'm just using my camera to get a closer look at certain things. So, I mean, they've been eating for a while, and you can see they're not that full yet. So it tells us this carcass is very fresh. And you see that other lioness who's just arrived. She's still got quite a bit of blood on her face, so she's back for round 2. So really trying to mask the smell, cover the stomach content. One thing that makes me possibly doubt was lions is if we... Oh, let's just wait, watch her berry. Stomach content. Now, leopards do this as well. A lot of cats will try mask the smell of where they've made a kill and cover up the stomach content. Might even get some help. There we go. Teamwork, girls. You can see, not designed for digging, not the most effective when it comes to scratching around sand. Now you see where that second lioness is sniffing there. I can't really see too well what that hole is, but that is one thing that might make me think it might not be lions and it might be an injury from another hippo. But I will have a closer look when the ladies allow me the opportunity to. Oh, they're such amazingly beautiful animals. The muscle definition is incredible. Now, this is quite an open area where they've killed this hippo, so there's a strong possibility that the vultures might descend at some point during the day. But I think they might drag this hippo into a slightly thicker area where it's going to be harder for the vultures to see it. But even here, just being so open in this general area, it might not work. So now she's covering up some of the blood spots from when it would have opened up the carcass first. Again, trying to mask the smell. So guys, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to send them in. You can do that by emailing us on questions@wildearth.tv, or if you're on Twitter, you can just use the hashtag #SafariLive. It's a very strange one to put your foot between two trees and then try to pull the sand through. Good morning, Rome and Tanda. Rome and Tanda are asking, how would a lion bring down a hippo? Would they strangle it? Panda, sorry. Rome and Panda. Basically like they would any other animal. A hippo this size would be easier to strangle. A bigger hippo, not so much. Even with this, they probably would bite and wait for blood loss to take effect. The animal's too weak to defend itself. What happens quite often when lions do kill large prey is that it is not a very, if you're very sensitive, it's not a very nice thing to watch, because quite often they'll start feeding while those animals are still alive. Oh, they're really trying to master the smell today. welcome back, Virginia. Virginia is like, would like to know, because lions, or the hippo, sorry, doesn't have any fur, would the lions eat the skin? They would if they were very hungry, but quite often they will eat pieces of the skin and then leave the skin. It is still quite tough and rough, and probably not the most appetizing. But I've seen lions that are very hungry. They definitely would eat the skin. Okay, well, I think the ladies are going to head down to drink, so I think we'll go try get there to the water before them, and then we'll come back and inspect the carcass while the lions are lying up further from it, to see if we can figure out whether it's a natural death or a non-lion death that could not be killed by another hippo, or maybe it was in bad condition. But judging from the amount of subcutaneous fats and stuff we could see, I don't think that the hippo was in particularly poor condition. So now we just need to see whether it was another hippo that might have done the damage, or it was the lions. My suspicion at the moment, but I'm not 100% sure until I've been there a bit, I had a bit of a closer look, is that it was actually the lions and not another hippo. Oh, lion jam. Just gonna give me a second, guys. I'm gonna try shoot around to get to the lions drinking. We might drop signal for a tiny second as I drop into the drainage line, but it'll be worth it once we get around and have a wonderful view of those girls having a drink. Lights on the right side as well. Just enjoy this for a few seconds. You can definitely see two different ages here. I was talking about the sub-adult, who just over a year old now. That's the lioness on the right. The one on the left is an adult. The adult females in this pride range from about, as far as I understand, from about 5 to 8 years old, from what I've been told by the other guides. You'll notice how they're drinking in a very small little area rather than out the main edge of the dam. Lion and leopard, you'll notice, do that very often. And the reason for this is it'd be very difficult for a crocodile to grab a lion from there, but if they were drinking at one of the other parts of the dam, it would be much easier for a crocodile if it wanted to feed off there or try catch a lion. Okay, so drink's over. Looks like they're going to go sleep in the shade, a little bit away from the carcass. Some grooming, quite important. As I said, Pride members. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down here next to the dam, which means there must be 3 still lying up around the carcass. So we got the young male, one of the little sub-adults, and looks like 3 adult females. And it definitely looks like the young male's eaten more than anyone else. And you just look at his general, oh, I'm so full, it's hot, heavy breathing. Also the size of his belly. And because even though he is young, he is physically already much larger than his mothers and aunts. So he will take the lion's share of a carcass, and especially in the beginning, he will beat up everyone else because he's bigger, enabling him to get more food. But if you're a lion, you're in a pretty good spot at the moment. Got water right here, got meats just up the hill. Happy days. No adult male with them, even though we did have adult male tracks this morning. But if there is an adult male around and he heard, if they caught that and they heard, oh, there we go. Well, we got a fight. So fast asleep. What happened? If they heard the Pride taking down that hippo, they'll definitely be on their way into this area to get their share. And then we'll go have a look. Let's just sit and watch this female grooming the sub-adult for a bit, then we'll go have a look at the carcass again. Good morning, Blair from New Zealand. Welcome on the Sunrise Safari. Blair would like to know, if they did kill the hippo, how much of a role would this young male have played? I think he would have played a decent sized role. He is that much bigger and heavier than the lionesses, so he might have definitely played a role. At this age, with bigger prey species, he will definitely, with things like buffalo and hippo and giraffe, he will definitely start playing a bigger hunting role. Hippo is a really nice meal for a pride of lions. So everyone's very happy today. Good morning, David from Michigan. David saying from where we found them now, we must have driven past them earlier. Why are there no alarm calls from squirrels and birds? David, probably because there aren't any squirrels or birds in that area, and at that specific time. But if a squirrel or bird was close by and saw them, would definitely alarm call. It's possible they've been here for an hour or two, so they've already been alarm called at and the other animals have moved away. Oh, that sub-adult looks like it's very much enjoying the groom. Very much enjoying that. Very important in terms of keeping the bonds of the pride strong, especially because of the way lions feed. When they do get food, they literally go at each other like you have no idea. It's each for their own, fighting, biting, scratching. So after those moments of madness, to keep the pride bond strong, there'll be a lot of this grooming. There's no stress now. They don't have to worry about finding food. They've got food. They're next to water. So there'd be probably more grooming than you would normally get if they were hungry. See how she watches the sky every now and then to look, make sure, checking for vultures. You'll notice lions and leopards do that often. They'll check to the sky, make sure that there's no vulture flying in. They're not very big fans of vultures, but I'm pretty sure vultures are going to find that carcass eventually, sometime today. Okay, well, so should we go have a quick look at that? The actual hippo carcass, see if we can work out whether it was them or possibly another hippo. Good morning, Jerry from Maryland. Welcome on the Sunrise Safari. It's very difficult to be 100% sure that that's the mother, but it is a hippopotamus lying right opposite where the lions are, in the same area as that carcass. But it's difficult to see whether that is a female or a young male. And that hippo wasn't in the dam when we came through earlier, so it is quite difficult to predict. Anyway, let's go look at that hippo carcass. Fat cats. Spread through the bush, heading back towards the carcass. So we know we've got 3 down there. There's a 4th one lying here in the shade. Found some nice shade there. Lying up still close to the carcass, but a little bit further away. So that's number 4. Oops, sorry, Brian. And now we're going to have a look at the carcass and also check if we can see the rest of the pride. So, nice to see the Nkuhumas again. They are the pride of lions we probably see the most of, although they have seemed to have been avoiding us for a while. But so really nice to have them back. Let's check, is anyone actually at the carcass? No lions at the carcass, so we can go a little bit closer to have a look to see if we can figure out what exactly happened. And then the other 3 lions. shot there. I need to turn a bit wider.
No, you turn a bit.
Turn a bit wider. How's that look? There we go. So you can see what we're looking at there is where the ears would have been. That would have been one of the first things. And if you go further down on its nose, I'm seeing quite a few scratches and things like that. But with a hippo's skin being so thick, and there are just normally a lot of scratches on a hippo's skin, the fact that makes me think it was the lions, if you go, there we go, that sort of bottom of the shot there, there's some scratches there, and the blood is coagulated in it. So that probably means that the animal was alive when those scratches were made, which leads me to sort of think that this hippo was killed by the pride lions. So still lots of meat left. Still a young hippo, but it's still a lot of meat. You can actually have a proper look at a hippo's foot, which is not something you get to do quite often. And you see it there. Let me go back a little bit. The one behind the head is going to be the best. There. So there we go. You can see 4 toes. So you can see a very, very distinct shape of the hippo's foot. And hippo's tracks are very distinct with those 4 toes when we do see them when we're moving around. And also, you can see a little bit, not so much here, but how thick a hippo's skin is. And an adult hippo can be as thick as 5-6 centimeters, maybe even a bit more than that. So there's a very thick layer of skin, but the main thickness is caused by the subcutaneous fat layer. But there's going to be some very happy lions. This will probably last them till tomorrow afternoon, just judging about how much they've fed on and how much meat is left. But that's if the hyenas don't come and start mobbing them. There's no male lion here, and we do have quite a nice large hyena population on Nkuhuma, so they could get enough support to sort of really give these lions a hard time around this carcass. Okay, guys, while we're going to sit here, we're going to stay in this area, see what's going. We're just going to cross across to Scotty quickly to hear what he's been up to, and then we'll come back here and see what the lions are doing. I don't think they're going to be doing too much with those big fat bellies, but anyway, it's always great to look at lions, even when they are full and fat and sleeping. And a lion is still an incredible animal, so enjoy whatever Scotty's got for you.
Welcome back, everyone, and well done to Brent on tracking down those lions for all of you. How bizarre, it's not often that lion in this area catch hippos, so a really unique experience for all of you to share with Brent. and good prospects, because I'm sure those lion will still be there for a while. It sounds like there's still a lot of meat to feed on. So good news for lion viewing over the next couple of days. We continued searching for Karula's footprints and managed to find where we lost the last tracks. She crossed a riverbed and then continued very close to where Brent was following up on tracks of the lion. In that area, I can't establish where she has headed to, but she was only about 100 meters or so from our eastern boundary and could well have crossed into the eastern property next door to us. Anyway, we'll follow up this afternoon, and at least we've got a better idea of where she's ended up. Anyway, a big thank you from myself, as well as VM and everyone in Final Control. Thanks for following, and we'll see you this afternoon. Back to Brent with the lions and the hippo.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm just going to head back down to those other lions that are lying next to the dam. Nice and out in the open. They're doing a bit of grooming. So a bit better than looking at the three fat cats we've got here who are fast asleep. And we've had a nice good look at the carcass. It'll be interesting to see as that carcass sort of disappears and what's left and how we can actually have a look at that hippo's anatomy as the carcass gets smaller. And maybe we'll be able to have a better look at the skin and stuff this afternoon. They might have moved the carcass a little bit. Obviously I don't want to drive everywhere around. There's lions sleeping all over the place. I don't want to disturb them. So we'll go down to the guys out in the open. One of them stood up and actually walked straight towards us. So here comes one of the lionesses heading back up towards the carcass very slowly. Nice fat belly. And there should be another 3 still lying down there. Christine, and welcome on the Sunrise Safari. Christine would like to know how long it would take a pride of this size to finish that hippo if no other predator steals it. I would probably say they might be finished by tomorrow evening sometime, maybe the next morning. See, there we go. Oh, very tired male lion. It's amazing how much his mane has grown even in the last couple of months. Definitely getting to that point where he might not be welcome too soon in this area. Thanks for another question this morning, Virginia. Virginia would like to know whether the hippo that's behind us would be afraid to leave the water because the lions are around. Virginia, you'll probably find that hippo will move off on the other side of the dam. At the moment, oh, I can't see it, it's underwater somewhere. At the moment, it knows it's very safe where it is. And also, you'll notice a lot of animals can pick up on other animal behavior. So like a full lion doesn't actually pose too much of a threat unless you stumble onto it. But I think the hippo will just use a different access far away from the lions. You can see how big this young boy's paws are getting. I think he's going to be a big male one day. And there's that big fat belly. Yeah, just cleaning after feeding. Lying in the shade, belly full of hippo. Good morning, George from Florida. George would like to know, would the Pride band together to defend the hippo carcass from hyenas? Most definitely, George, but the hyenas would also call in other hyenas, and I secretly hope for a bit of hyena-lion interaction this evening, so we'll definitely be checking up on that. But yes, they would, George. So guys, it's been finally a successful morning. We had an interesting morning of tracking. They chased something which we think was a giraffe, but quite far from here. So there was a lot of confusion trying to figure out where the tracks were. Scotty and Andrew came into the area to help me, and we'd driven the other side of the dam twice this time, but we hadn't driven on this western side. And then Andrew came in on the road, and he luckily saw the hippo carcass from the road, and he called us in. We were just down the road, still looking for the lions. But it's going to be quite exciting watching this sort of drama unfold over the next few days. We've got lions on the hippo carcass. Hopefully we might see some interaction with hyenas coming in. That will be really, really amazing to watch. And other than that, it's been a fantastic morning. I've really, really enjoyed having you all here. Thanks very much for all the questions. We really do appreciate it. And from all of us here at WildEarth, we hope you have a fantastic day, wherever you might be. And for the last few seconds, I'm sure you'd much rather look at a lion.